named Ellie Abel had the brilliant idea to start a mid-career program in business and economics journalism. It was also his idea to name it after that eminent Victorian, Walter Bagehot, who, among other things, was the editor of The Economist. We did it even though we all knew that the Bagehot name was destined to be mispronounced for years to come. Bagehot, anyone? I was the first director of the program in 1975-76, and someone was the second director, 76-77. There have now been 7 directors of the Bagehot program in all over its 30-year history. And I think it's fair to say that none of them has had more impact and more importance than Terri Thompson. She has served for 13 years now, more than anyone else. She has put the program on sound financial footing after some precarious years, more than quadrupling the endowment. She has overseen the training of some 120 journalists, many of them the best in the business. And she has turned the annual Bagehot dinner into a major event in our profession. She has done all of this with dazzling charm and great style. Her triumph at the Night Bagehot program caps her career as a journalist. Now, you all probably know that apart from working at Business Week, Terri worked as institutional investor and at U.S. News and World Report. What you probably don't know is that Terri, who was raised in Iowa, started out at the Carlville Courier, which is a weekly newspaper just outside of Iowa City. The Courier's motto was refreshingly candid. If it didn't happen by Wednesday, it didn't happen this week. We could relate to that at Business Week, too. She was a graphic artist, a typesetter, and a darkroom assistant at the paper, and even sold some advertising, but we'll try not to hold that against you. In 1974, she moved to Boston as the administrative assistant to the publisher of Purchasing magazine, which was a Connors publication. As she tells it, her boss soon realized that she was not cut out to be a secretary. So she was demoted to assistant news editor. She wrote about labor and economics, among other things. Then came her big break. The director, as they say, is history. I should add one personal note. Terry's husband, Peter Rosenthal, died after a long illness in September 2001. Peter was really a terrific guy, as many of you know. Before asking Terri to come up here, I want to introduce the most important person in Terry's life, her 13-year-old son, Danny Rosenthal. Danny has just finished 7th grade at Fieldston School here in New York. Danny, I want you to stand up. So Terri, we are really very, very delighted to honor you with the Eliot Bell Award. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in saluting Terri Thompson.
Here this evening. When I look at the list of recipients of the Eliot Bell Award, people who have mentored and counseled me for years and years, people like Steve Shepard and Matt Winkler and Paul Steiger and Sally Hyman and Mike Canvell and Marshall Loeb and fellow Bagehot's Floyd Norris. I'm just incredibly humbled to be added to this list. Especially since, as Steve mentioned, I grew up in Iowa, and I never, in my wildest imagination, would have thought I would be a financial writer in New York City. I really believed, or I dreamed that I would be going to Nashville as a country singer. And, I would actually be a lot more comfortable right now if I could be sprawled on top of a baby grand piano singing to you. And if you know what I'm talking about, you've been going to a lot of financial fall meetings. I really did. I enjoyed performing in the Follies. In fact, it was some of the most fun times of my life. So it's, I suppose, no wonder when I moved to New York City and joined Business Week. I also joined the New York Financial Writers Association. It's been a lot of fun, but I also honestly have to say that financial writers have done a lot more for me than just providing a stage for me to make a fool of myself. It's actually been a place where I've learned and grown a lot. Living and working on the board and serving as a member, it has provided a lot for my career as a professional journalist and actually prepared me for my job as director of the NYFWA Fellowship. And let me just spell some of those things out. Through my involvement in the Financial Writers, I learned how to put together an informative and educational program. I learned how to value and rely on and involve an engaged board of advisors, and I learned the fundamentals of fundraising. Because really, when you think about it, the Financial Writers and the NYFWA program have an awful lot in common. We're nonprofit organizations with the same mission. We're here to really honor and provide scholarships for deserving journalists, and ultimately to raise the professional standard of financial journalism. So. Life didn't exactly turn out the way I expected. I haven't picked up my guitar or sung a country song in a long, long time. And it wasn't really easy for me to give up the exciting life of financial reporter and writer and editor to become an educator, administrator, and fundraiser. But in the end, I do believe that the world needs the Bachelor program a lot more than it needs another country singer. It needs amounts of help. And I have a long list of people I'd like to thank. Not all by name, but you know who you are. First of all, I'd like to thank the graduates of the NYFWA program who have gone on to do great work and who have helped fulfill our mission of improving business journalism. My first class is represented tonight by Michael Gonzalez, who has grown up to become the speechwriter for the chairman of the SEC. So we will hear and also along the lines, I'd like to thank the financial contributors to the NYFWA program, many of whom are here as well. Without you, the program would not exist at all. I'd like to thank my colleagues and co-workers at Columbia School of Journalism, and in particular the deans I've worked for. Tonight, I'm very pleased to say that Tom Goldstein, who lived through some really tough times with me, is here tonight all the way from California, and I'm incredibly honored to join them. I'd also like to thank Steve Shepard and Soma Golden Bear for co-founding the Bachelor program 30 years ago, and for all of the previous directors who really established the fellowship at Columbia as the premier fellowship for business journalists. In particular, I want to thank Chris Wells, who selected me 25 years ago to be a Bachelor fellow. I have many mentors I'd like to thank. Many who actually serve on the NYFWA Board of Advisors, and in particular, I'd like to thank Myron Candell, who I always look to when as a role model when it comes time to thinking how should I help or how can I help someone in a career, because Mike's been so helpful to so many people. I think, what would Mike do? And I really appreciate for that, Mike. I'd like to thank all of my friends and colleagues. Some date back 25 years ago to the Badgett program, and at my early days at Business Week and U.S. News. I really appreciate all that you've done to support me through the years. And to my family, I would like to acknowledge my late husband, Peter Rosenfeld, who supported me every step of the way in my career and actually urged me to take the job at Columbia when I thought it was too big for me. So I hope he's watching. I think he'd be proud and probably say, I told you so. I'd like to thank God for putting me in this place at this time and for blessing me with my son, Daniel Rosenthal, who has put up with almost 14 years of my divided attention. Danny, I hope that you agree with me that it was worth it and that we're both blessed with the extended family of Badgett Fellows and Financial Writers. And I thank you all for this incredible honor.